Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. There's nothing better on a cool fall day than to have a nice warm bowl of soup. And I'm going to share with you today one of my favorites. It's a roasted butternut squash soup. Not only do I roast the squash, I also like to roast a few other vegetables to go in it. We're going to roast some garlic, some carrots, and some onions. They're going to caramelize and are going to add that much more flavor to the soup. We're going to blend it all together with a little bit of cream, and it's going to taste absolutely wonderful. So let's get started by roasting our vegetables. All we're going to do is we're going to cut our squash into half. I like to knock off the ends of the squash first. You need a sharp knife, and a lot of times with squash, if you just work it back and forth a little bit, it'll cut open easily. We're going to clean out the insides with a small knife. The carrots we're going to leave whole. All I've done is peeled them. And the onion, we're just going to cut them right in half. With the garlic, I'm just going to knock the head off the garlic. I'm going to put the garlic in some tin foil. I'm going to make a little boat out of it. Going to drizzle a little bit of oil on top, put a pinch of salt, and we're going to close that up. Once the veggies are all cut and prepared, all I'm going to do now is I want to coat them with a little bit of oil, put a little bit of salt and pepper on for seasoning, and then we're going to roast these until they become nice and caramelized and golden brown. We're going to use a 400-degree oven, and we're going to be cooking this for maybe an hour, 15 minutes. We're going to check on them. When the veggies look nice and caramelized, it'll be time to take them out. Okay, now that I've oiled and seasoned the veggies, I'm going to turn the squash over so the cut side is facing onto the parchment paper. I'm going to do the same thing with the onions. I'm going to have the cut side facing down. And now this is all ready to go inside the oven for about hour and 15 minutes. The veggies have been in the oven for about 45 minutes. It's starting to smell wonderful in here. You can smell the garlic, you can smell the onions cooking. When you're having a pureed soup, sometimes it feels, at least to me, like I'm lacking a little bit of texture. So we're gonna kick up the soup a little bit by adding some toasted pumpkin seeds onto the top. So once the veggies come out, we're cooling them down. We're gonna put these pumpkin seeds in the oven to roast up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take about a cup and a half of pumpkin seeds. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of oil and about a quarter teaspoon of smoked paprika and a quarter teaspoon of ground coriander. A little bit of salt, and let's just get those mixed around. We'll spread these out in a dish lined with parchment paper. And we'll let them toast for about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll keep an eye on them. We just want them to brown up a little bit, crisp on the outside, and they're gonna be perfect addition to topping off our soup with. I've let the veggies cool down for about 15 minutes after coming out of the oven so I can actually touch them with my hands without burning. They've got beautiful caramelization to them. And what I'm gonna start to do is I'm going to take the squash, and it's all nice and soft. We're gonna put it inside the blender. Now if you see these onions, I kept the skin on them. We can easily pull the skin off them now that they're cooked. And you'll notice they've also caramelized on the inside as well. We'll pull the outside peel to it. So when you do it this way, our soup's gonna be a little bit darker than had we just boiled the vegetables, but we're gonna have so much more flavor in there. With the carrots, I'm just gonna cut them a little bit. I'll end up blending it in a couple of batches, and I'm going to put it into a pot on the stove where we'll continue to warm it. I'm going to open up the garlic. The garlic is soft. They've been cooked inside. The tops are off, so we can actually just squeeze the garlic. It'll come right out, and we'll put that inside the blender as well. I'm going to blend it in 2 batches, but I'm going to put all the seasonings in now because we'll mix them together inside the pot. I have about a quarter teaspoon of ground ginger, about a half a tablespoon of Canadian maple syrup, and a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. We don't need to add any additional salt or pepper because we season the vegetables really well. To give it a little bit of liquid, we're going to add some vegetable stock, and we'll adjust the amount of vegetable stock after when it's in the pot to make sure that we have the consistency of the soup that we want. And I'm going to put a little bit of cream inside as well. And that's ready to get blended up, and we'll put it in the pot on low heat to warm up. Well, there you have it, our wholesome and tasty butternut squash soup. We're going to top it off with some of those roasted pumpkin seeds and a little bit of fresh parsley to go over the top, and that is going to make for a perfect dinner tonight. Thanks again for joining me in the kitchen today. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the fall weather. Christmas is just around the corner. I'm going to dig in, and I really hope that you enjoy this soup as much as I do. Those roasted vegetables, they do it to me every time. I just love that flavor on a cold day.